Alright, so if I can edit these videos, this will be in it. If not, this is part 3 of the hub replacement. So it's done. I kind of got sidetracked doing everything. But the basic understanding was, like I said in the other guy's video, or like how I recommend you watch his video, Vortex Garage. You bang out your old, I think they're called races. I'm possibly mistaken at the pronunciation, but it was something like that at the auto parts store. It's where the bearings seat in. It's a machined surface so that they can spin around freely with grease and it's, proper. So you press those two out. You have one that comes out this way first, and then you flip it over and you get that one. You press them in the same way. You press in this side first, boom, and then you press in this one. And you pack the shit out of your bearings with grease. I mean, you pack them. Roll it in there, glop it up, press it in, press it in, press it in. While the rotor's still out and you're putting the back one in, you can actually set that bearing in there, spin it around a little bit, pull it back out, pack some more in there. Then you set the bearing in on the back. You set the seal as smooth as you can. You take this driver kit, which I'll show you. You take this thing right here, and then there's a hammer bit right here. And you smack it down nice and good, and it'll press the seal. Now, these are the old races, I think is what they're called. So you can see there's a machined surface. I mean, this one's got scarring on it, so it was going out. But you press those out, press them in, press the bearing in after you pack it, put the seal on using that. You use that to press them in as well. Once that's on, you come over here, you slide this onto the axle shaft itself, and it will sit kind of down until you're ready to put your other bearing in. You pack that one, you pack it up nice and good. You've already seated the race, so then you pick it up to where it's straight, slide that bearing in, hold it there, get your new spindle nuts. You spin the first one on, and what I did was I brought it to 50 pounds while spinning this so it can see and move the grease. Packed it up to 50 pounds, and then I turned it 90 degrees, loosened, got it tight again, set the torque wrench to 30 foot-pounds, went back to 30 foot-pounds, and tightened it, and then I backed it off a 3/8 of a turn. It spins good, a little bit tight. Bearing's got to work itself in. But those are the specs. I got a bunch of grease I have to take care of here. But once that's set, you have that washer that I showed you when you took it off with all the holes in it. Now, the new ones are different just a little bit, and you'll see that there's a slot in your spindle. I'll show you on this, where this little nipple will slide onto. And if that pin isn't lined up, pull it off, turn it around, check again. If it's still off a little bit, you're going to tighten just the smallest amount, the closest to the closest hole. And whether it be this way or this way, you have to find which hole's closer, turn it just enough, slide it back on. Thankfully, I don't know how I did it, but I put my washer on first time. It was off, so I pulled it off, flipped it around, boom, slid right on. Perfect. So then, took my axle nut, the new spindle nut, sorry, the one that holds this down so that it doesn't spin anymore, and I torqued that down to 150 foot-pounds. I couldn't find the exact specs. All the newer trucks were between 111 to like 190. The video that Vortex Garage does, he torques it down to 190 on his 85 truck. So I went between 111 and like 190. I just popped it at 150, so pretty much as this little torque wrench could handle. And that's right in the middle. Popped it once, popped it twice. No, it's tight. All right. Pulled that socket out. Then you slide in the new worn hub. Set it in there. It slides in nice and good. You just have to, kind of make sure all the teeth line up. Don't press it too hard. Once it's in, you have a retaining clip that you just kind of slide in that slot there where this one's compression clip, I don't know if that's the right word for it, but this compression spring sat, it has a groove in here, and there's a groove right inside that hub. So you put that retaining clip in there. I'm gonna go put this back. Once that's in, I always do a good test on pretty much anything I work on, and what Vortex Garage did that was pretty smart is he took 2 screws, threaded them in, and jiggled it in and out. There's supposed to be like that much play, just a little bit, just enough to like just jiggle back and forth the tiniest amount. If you are tight and there's no jiggling, you need to pull everything back out and make sure that you sat that washer correctly, because if it's sitting on the pin, something he mentions is it will hold everything out and you won't get a seal here. That won't have wiggle. It'll cause a lot of problems. So if it doesn't seat right, doesn't have that just a tiniest amount of in and out, you did something wrong. Go back through, take your time, watch his video, not mine, because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Watch his video. He's very good at explaining it. And then, after you've made sure everything seats good, this cap comes with a O-ring already seated in it. The ones that he bought were a lot fancier than mine. These work just fine for me though. But there's this is that retaining clip with that hole here. But then there's the O-ring. So just make sure that your O-ring's in, and make sure it's on free when you install it. It'll slide into its, you have 3 tabs, 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3 holes here. Anyway, so they slide in. Then because it's already predetermined, those slots were there for a reason. You slide in your screws, thread them up, get them a good little tight there, snug, not too tight. They're tiny aluminum screws into a tiny aluminum locker. And now, which this thing used to jiggle a lot, there's no play. Sounds great. So, brake cleaner, put the caliper back on, and that should be it for that. So yeah, and now I've got to go do the other side.